naturalism tells us about a proportion that follows the natural norms. So, when we see a door of a house, we may just make out that the door is more than 5.5 feet tall, or maybe it is around 6 or more feet in height, because we know that that is made for a purpose. So, our sense of logic also operates us to take the decision. When we look at something which is which does not fit a human body structure, we often wonder that what it is meant for. Is it meant for a human use, or it is just meant for no purpose? Or even if we see a structure which does not fit the human body, we may straight away call it a piece of art. So, those are the possibilities that we usually come across. So, we have a very tuned and active rational mind, and through that rationality we try to give things a new structure. But then we have another part of our mind that thinks of an ideal condition. So, we move from naturalism to idealism, and we can also bring the aspects of utopia into our thought. So, we think of an ideal condition where everything is ideal, it follows a ideal norm, but visually it is possible we can create it, but our rationality, our mind says that it is not perhaps possible in reality. So, we constantly come across a dilemma of happening, which is reality and which is our imagination, and through that some visual expression is possible. So, we can produce things in visual reality which is perhaps not possible in physical reality. So, this is a structure that I have drawn here, and we call it an impossible cube. So, why is it impossible? Because it is possible in a drawing, it is a two-dimensional drawing. We get a sense of a three-dimensional object which is a cube, but because of its formation we cannot ever make it physically. So, it can only happen in a virtual reality. We create a reality which is far off from our known reality. So, if we see the structure, we feel that this is quite interesting, but we cannot ever make it physically with the available materials that we have handy. Let us realize it with more examples, that how a scale change can affect our visual need. So, if we create a land where the proportional norms are a bit changed or altered, like as we see that when we see the figures are the figures in the surrounding, they are much bigger than the main character in one of the stories or in their illustrations, we can make out that the figure is very tiny. For example, if we see Oliver Twist, there the figure is very large, and he is entering a land of the Lilliputians, who are very small, they are the small characters. Now, the scale change will give us a different reality. We enter a new land that can be a totally unreal land of utopia, but these are found in most of the surreal literature, most of the surreal paintings, that we create a land with the altered proportion that places us in a dilemma, and that is that creates a visual paradox. So, when we make a structure like this in a place, we expect the human figure to be not more than this big. But if we see a human figure there, who is this big in size, in relation to the pyramid here or the trees over here, we will wonder whether this is a real situation or a surreal situation. So, this is possible in a visual representation, but it may not be possible in reality. We are going to realize this principle of visual paradox in reference to a very famous artwork, which is made by Magritte, uh, and the title of the picture is commonly known as the personal values. So, what Magritte wanted to show in the picture personal values uh, takes us to a different condition, where we see in the pictorial space, this is just the reference where I try to analyze the same artwork in terms of its space, if not in its physical detail. So, what we see is a juxtaposition of different objects which are common in a space like this. So, if we try to take the reference of the objects that we get to see here, it is a room, we have a comb, a glass, a makeup brush, an almirah, a seat, a bed, a mirror in the cupboard, the almirah, and the mirror has some reflection of a curtain, and a wall full of blue sky and clouds. The bed also has a few pillows. The floor has some wooden planks and a few carpets in it. So, that is how we can find out, like, these are the recognizable objects that is there throughout the picture, and not a single object is ambiguous for our knowledge. So, everything we understood that is there in the picture, but still we are experiencing a reality which is a bit confusing in the picture. The reason is that when we look at this comb, which is otherwise meant for human use, we comb our hair. So, the comb, if it is this big, when we place our head on the pillow, then you compare the size of the head and the comb is disproportionately large as compared to that. So, that gives us a question, that how come a comb be this big? Then we see a wine glass that is of a normal scale. If we compare it with the other things, if we put it in the foreground, we feel that this is in a closer view, then it is normal. If we place it in the same order on the floor, then this is like a very big wine glass that we get to see, and they are not of human use. Also, when we see the makeup brush, this is very huge, it is not for the normal human use, and the almirah will be too small for that. So, the almirah and the bed, if they follow a particular scale which is like a human scale, and also the room has the same scale, then these three objects are disproportionate. So, that is a paradigm that is relative, and we have in our mind that they are meant for the human use. So, we see that the size of the room is fine, the size of the cupboard or the almirah is also fine, the size of the bed is good, the wall sizes are good, the cloud and the blue sky may be something which is a little kind of a doubtful thing, that can also be some kind of a visual texture that is there on the wall. So, that somehow satisfy satisfies our thought, our understanding. But then what about the other objects, like what about the size of the comb, the size of the glass, the size of the makeup brush, and the size of the set may also fit the condition. So, that is right, and these are the point of confusion. So, then we change our outlook, we try to justify things in a different order. If we say that this is a doll's house and there are some objects of human use that are placed there, that will give us the answer. So, in a picture, then we feel that okay, this is a doll's house. So, the bed is meant for a doll which is very small, maybe 6 or 8 inches tall. So, if the doll is this small, then maybe the glass is for human use, the comb is also for human use, the makeup brush is also for the human use, the almirah is for the use of the doll, the seat is also for the doll, and the rest of the things are for the human use, and you have a visual texture done on the wall. So, this is not the real cloud or sky, but it is painted in a very realistic manner. So, in a single picture we need to shift our orientation, we orient ourselves 2 times in 2 different orders to justify the proportions, the norms of scale that was used in the picture. So, when we come across this kind of conditions where we alter our vision, we try to understand whether it is reality or it is an imagination, we call it surrealism. It has a real treatment because we are creating a world that is a parallel reality perhaps. So, there you need to have, like, you need to also adopt a style which is a realistic way of applying things, otherwise it will not lead you to a confusion. If you see that things are fictional, the kind of line that we are using, the kind of texture we are using, they are flexible, they are very imaginary. So, we will not actually get baffled by the condition, we will just feel that somebody has done it with some irrationality. So, to justify that we need to also produce a surface with the use of some of the treatments. So, the brush treatments and everything has to be close to naturalism, so that it looks very real. And the moment it starts looking real, we start questioning that if it is reality, then why it does not fit to our understanding, why we are not understanding it through a normal rational. So, it can also happen, let us see that with another visual, that there are lots of things that is possible in reality, like the impossible cube that we have seen earlier. Let us take example of a classroom. So, this is one of the wall of a classroom, this is the entrance. Now, we have one place where the teacher will stand, it may have a table, a chair, as per human proportion. And we also have students sitting here. and of course, a blackboard to fit with the context. So, everything in this picture is following the general norms of scale, that if the classroom is this big, the door has to be around this big, the board is also following the same scale, the ratio of proportion between the teacher and the student as per their sizes are just fine. So, we cannot call it surreal until we see certain thing which is surreal there. So, let us add something that will convert it into a visual paradox. So, we suddenly put a figure which is an elephant in the picture. So, the elephant comes and the teacher demonstrates the concept of an animal perhaps to the students. Now, the elephant can also stay here in this position, there is no problem with that, because the classroom is big enough to make place for an elephant. But then what is so strange about it? An elephant can be there in between the teacher and the student, but then you are going to ask this question, that how can an elephant enter from a door which is this big? So, an elephant can, but this is obvious that the elephant did not grow in this room. So, it must have entered through some other location. So, that also puts us under some question, and the whole picture will become surreal or dreamlike, and we do not call it reality only because it does not fit our normal rationality. So, there are lots of similar things, like if you replace the same elephant with maybe a locomotive or maybe just a simple car or anything else, you may have asked the same question, that how will it enter, how will it fit in. Even if the classroom is situated somewhere, you have a caption written that this is the 4th floor or even the 2nd floor, you could have asked the same question, that how will it fit in to the door and how did it enter the place. So, these are the questions that is very much there in our mind and not in reality, but still it makes the expression very different. So, even when we are creating a natural or ideal structure, we need to keep in mind whether it is suiting our general perception of reality or not. So, we can create a ideal situation, like as we said, it is like a social utopia that you may create, that everything is perfect there. You have a juxtaposition of 2-3 contradictory things within a sphere to idealize certain things. You may just question, because your rationality goes in a different order. The human mind will always question whether it is possible in reality or not. So, that is another reality, and the representational aspects of that reality will be different from the naturalness or the idealness of whatever creation that we have discussed so far. So, we need to create a structure that is believable, at the same time that will put us in front of a question. We need to face a question of whether it is possible or not. So, that is all about the possibility, impossibility, and we need to choose they scale accordingly. So that it, if needed, it will create a visual paradox. If it is not needed, then it will just represent the reality. So, it's all are supported by the kind of color, the kind of texture, the kind of light and other things that we are using to fit to a context. So, when we are choosing a proportion, it should also fit to the context very well, and then we are free to do whatever we feel like in our visual expression or the visual representation.